beautiful deep divers, shout out to you. Thank you for joining me on the live stream. Deep divers, the whole world is waking up. Shout out to everybody in the chat. And deep divers, I said, hey, I haven't done live streaming. I haven't done live streaming for a little while. So I'm like, hey, let me get back to it because we got a whole lot to talk about. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Deep divers. I'm just, woo, breathing in that good ass prana, baby, sending you tons of good ass energy. Take that, take that, take that. Deep divers. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I hope your day is going good, deep divers. So the whole world is waking up and we ain't even had breakfast yet. Can I get a hello? Shout out to everybody in the chat. I see you. To everybody in the chat, I see you. And I want to tell you this, deep divers. We have so much to talk about. This is the kind of energy I receive every single day. Every single day I'm receiving this kind of energy. Marissa, hello, beautiful souls. We're sending you love, Marissa. We're sending you good energy, Marissa. See, this is the kind of energy I receive, deep divers, every single day. Tangerine 10 gin and tonic. I appreciate you. Rich, realizing I create happiness. What? Slow motion this side. Many blessings to you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody diving deep. So deep divers, the whole world is waking up. How do I know this? Because I'm meeting a lot of deep divers every single day. I'm meeting so many deep divers. It's unbelievable. And what they're telling me, it makes me believe that, hey, we're in good hands, deep divers. The universe has got us. Honey, the goddess, I appreciate that. Love you, really, Ralph. I appreciate all you deep divers. You see, we're living in groundbreaking times of change, deep divers. And I want you to know that something huge is happening on the planet. What seems like doom and gloom is nothing more than a new beginning. What seems like the end is nothing more than a new beginning. And I want you to remind yourself that even though it seems like the whole world is under lockdown, in quarantine, no, this is just the metamorphosis. So if you are somebody who had plans before this whole COVID-19 and now your plans are ruined, keep hopeful, keep hopeful. This is a great time to be alive because the whole world is waking up. Like deep divers, I'm just seeing people's Instagram feeds. I'm just seeing people's YouTube channels. The amount of people that are awakening right now is phenomenal. The amount of people that are really starting to ask questions is phenomenal. And this is what I'm seeing every single day. I'm seeing it firsthand, deep divers. That's why I wake up. That's why right now I'm just chilling. I'm just chilling, deep divers. I'm in God mode right now. Oh, baby. I'm in God mode right now, deep divers. Shout out to everybody diving deep. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Fizzy, I see you. Deep divers, what's happening? What's been on your mind, deep divers? Talk to me. Okay, I like that. Shout out to all the rainbow children. Shout out to all the indigos in the house. Shout out to all the chosen ones in the house, deep divers. Shout out to all the chosen ones in the house, deep divers. Robin Simmons, I love the rainbow children and indigo children. Absolutely. Well, it's the return of the rainbows and the indigos. It's the return of the chosen ones. That's why I'm divinely protected, divinely favored, deep divers. Yes, it's definitely the return of the rainbow children. Shout out to everybody diving deep. I appreciate everybody. Amanda, I appreciate everybody. Now, deep divers, the whole world is waking up. I told you, if you have a song, if you are in the chat and you make good music, send it to me, deep divers, because I play it. As you can see, this is an actual studio, a recording studio. I got the Telefunken mic back there. I got softbox lights here. I got the monitors here. I got a whole studio here, deep divers. I got the microphone here. If you are a musician, send me a song and I'm going to play it. Shout out to Brian Divisions who sent in this song, Deep Divers. Be blown away. This is part of the awakening. This is part of the awakening, deep divers. Let's go.
Yeah. Shout out Infinite Waters, Ralph Smart, Brian Divisions. Yeah. We ain't need no 5G, we in 5D. We ain't need no 5G, we in 5D. We ain't need no 5G, that's unlikely. We in 5D, the fifth dimensional reality. No 5G, we in 5D. We ain't need no 5G, we in 5D. We ain't need no 5G, that's unlikely. We in that 5D, that fifth dimensional reality. Yeah, I don't need no 5G because I live in 5D. I don't need new towers, I just need more up them pine trees. So when I kick it, then you know just where you'll find me. And if you ask, then you know just what the time be. It's now. I'm in the present, in the clouds, but both feet on the ground. To Mother Gaia, connecting to the source all around. These waters also infinite, frequencies all surround. Enter and exit my cells through the miracle of sound. But I prefer the natural vibes of those from Cell Tower. Yeah, why so quick to roll it out with no test on its true power? Maybe you should just take your time, give it more than just an hour, and think about the effect you can cause, so don't hide or cower. But we know why, it's the need to constantly progress. Money, power, and success, fear there won't be crumbs left if you're not the one who doesn't win the war or conquest. And prove to the world that you simply think that you are the best. But the real step is to get to 5D and emotionally open, true and loving light being. Not holding grudges or creating blame for fighting, but shining all your truth and light that is so blinding. Light to the darkness, let's take this time and mark this down as the first step of reaping all our harvest. Yeah, ain't it marvelous? We're all life artists, just as smart as Ralph. We're creators who all thought this. So let's unite without a fear, and bring the light to those we're near. No 5G tower can devour the connection to this planet that is always ours. No 5G, we in 5D. We ain't need no 5G, we in 5D. We ain't need no 5G, that's unlikely. We in 5D, the fifth dimensional reality. No 5G, we in 5D. We ain't need no 5G, we in 5D. We ain't need no 5G, that's unlikely. We in that 5D, that fifth dimensional reality, yeah.
Woo! Deep divers. I had to play that song. I had to play that song. Woo!
Let's get ready to rumble!
We had to drop a bomb on that one, deep divers. We had to drop. Let me drop another bomb on that song, deep divers. The epicness of that song. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Deep divers, we're back live streaming. The whole world is waking up. So what I've been noticing, deep divers, is that a lot of people are going through a massive awakening right now on the planet. A lot of people's eyes are starting to open right now. So this whole lockdown, this whole COVID-19 is actually a blessing in disguise. That's how I'm seeing it. You know, right now, the reason why the whole world is waking up is because a lot of people have a lot of time for introspection. A lot of people have a lot of time to go within. K Universe, I appreciate that. A lot of people have a lot of time to go within. A lot of people have a lot of time for self-reflection. You see, deep divers, the reason why the whole world is waking up right now is because we've got to a point on the planet where the ego of many people on the planet has caused us an awful amount of problems, an awful amount of trouble. So we have to move from the ego to the eco. This is the solution, deep divers. And this is why the whole world is waking up, because so many people right now are moving from the ego to the eco. The ego to the eco. I don't think you heard me. The ego to the eco. So, fear, deep divers. Let's talk about fear, what it does. As a psychologist, as a criminologist, fear is something which is what a lot of people are in on the planet. It's easy to see. You just have to go outside and all of a sudden you can see something like this. Or you can see something like this. This is the lower frequency. And the reason why the whole world is waking up is because a lot of people are no longer allowing themselves to stay in a state like this. This is not the state to manifest. What's the state to manifest? This is the state to manifest. This is why the whole world is waking up. This is why there's a whole great awakening happening right now on the planet. I already predicted what was going to happen in 2020 with the COVID-19. I predicted that in 2019. I want to remind you of this, deep divers. I'm just warming up right now. We've got a whole lot to talk about. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Deep divers, how you feeling today? Oh, I like that. I got to do a whole slow motion for that. Light worker, shout out to you. I got to do a whole slow motion for that. Ego is worse than virus. What? Slow motion this side. That one deserves a round of applause, deep divers. Whew. Ego is worse than virus. Absolutely. Absolutely. 3333. Jewel, I see you. Speak your truth. I got to give a special shout out to Jewel. She's always supporting me. She's always there in the comment section. And that's why I got to take a moment of silence for Jewel. Wilder, I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody here. So with this whole COVID-19, with this whole lockdown, this is what the cabal aim to do. This is what they aim to do. As you already know, deep divers, they have been doing screening tests if you're into sports or athletics. So for you to be able to perform as an athlete, you have to get screened for COVID-19. If you fail the test, you don't play. So the agenda is to really get everybody vaccinated within the next 36 months. That's the Agenda 21. We'll talk about that later. But it's to really have the whole planet vaccinated. And it's the COVID-19 vaccination which is on the way. The reason why the world is waking up is because a lot of people who once believed in the government, who once believed in people who are in authority, are no longer buying that story. And this is why everything hangs in the balance right now, because a lot of people can see what's going on. right? This is why, deep divers, right now, something huge is happening. Something marvelous is happening. I call it the Great Awakening. Oh, we just zoned out, deep divers. I call that the Great Awakening. Let's drop a bomb on that, deep divers. That's the Great Awakening. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Deep divers, I told you I'm back in my bag. I told you, deep divers, I'm back in my bag. Shout out to everybody here. So I want to remind you of this, deep divers. The power is with you. It always has been, and it always will be. It always will be. I want to remind you of this, deep divers. If you are somebody who's staying up late, sometimes you're doing some research, sometimes you're diving deep into information. I want to remind you, if you are somebody who is having a spiritual awakening for the first time, you're on the right path, deep divers, because a lot is coming down the pipeline. I told you, there's no American dream. There's only an American nightmare. How did the world get to this state, deep divers? This is what you have to ask yourself. There are many people who are starting to question. And the questioning, you see it in so many different forms. Shout out to everybody on the chat. Deep divers, I'm having fun live streaming. I feel very comfortable right now. Shout out to everybody for the offerings. I appreciate that. The cat down the road loves you. And the cat down the road is always wishing you well, deep divers. Aww, deep divers, you're making me all emotional. I told you the cat down the road just wants to say it loves you, deep divers. Right? Meet the cat down the road, deep divers. The cat down the road loves you. I don't think you heard me. I said the cat down the road loves you, deep divers. Can we get some love for the cat down the road? Right? Shout out to everybody diving deep in the chat. So I want to remind you of this, deep divers. Everything that you see happening before your eyes is a symptom of a far greater problem. Let me repeat that. The whole world is awakening. Deep divers, welcome to the chat. Everything that is happening before your eyes is a symptom of a greater problem. Like the great Krishnamurti said, it is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. What? Slow motion this side. Now, oh, let me pull that comment up, because you just hit it on the head. You just hit it on the head. And that's why I always say I can always count on deep divers who are sharp, who really know what's going on. Let me see if I can get the comment up. So many comments going in the chat. Okay, we got the comment, deep divers. The root of the problem is with individuals. Oh, baby. I don't think you heard that. Let me bring it up, deep divers. Raven Foley 1, that's absolutely true. The root problem is with individuals. This is why the whole world is waking up. You see, I told you, deep divers, there's something called not taking responsibility. When you take responsibility for your life, when you take responsibility for everything, you start to realize that the problem is not out there. The problem is within you. It's something individual. See, this is where the change happens. It happens with the individual, never with the collective. You see, the change never happens with the collective. It happens with the individual. And when enough people change themselves, then the collective will change. So the root problem is with individuals. Absolutely. I want to remind you of this, deep divers. I want to remind you of this. Every single day, when you're walking around the city streets, you might be somewhere in nature, I have no idea, wherever you are, a lot of people can feel that something seems different. A lot of people can feel that something is happening. A lot of people know that something big is happening. Something very big is happening. And I want to remind you of this, deep divers. The big thing that's happening right now is that people are losing hope in something they always had hope in. A lot of people had hope in the system. Jessica, I appreciate you. Ralph, I rock with you. Love you, Ralph. One love. One love to you, Jessica. One love to everybody on the chat. A lot of people are losing hope, deep divers. And that's a good thing. That's why I told you, deep divers, this is not the time to think that the world is ending. There is no end. There's only a beginning. And when you realize right now, if you lost your job due to this coronavirus, thank the universe. If you feel lost right now, thank the universe. It's time to reset. The global reset had to happen. And this is why the whole world is awakening right now. Right now, the whole world is waking up because this is the global reset. Everyone right now is forced to change their entire plan. Their entire way of life has been shattered due to this COVID-19 pandemic. So with this comes a total reset. With this comes a total refresh, just like you're refreshing the home page, deep divers. And that means right now, it's time to start over. And that's phenomenal because the old way wasn't working. So now it's time for the new way, deep divers. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I just got on the live stream, deep divers. I said, hey, it's time to dive deep on the live stream. Scott, I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody diving deep. So I want to remind you, deep divers, the whole world is awakening. Why? Because people who weren't even awake before are starting to ask questions. Let me repeat that. The whole world is awakening because people who weren't even awake before are starting to ask questions. Now, not everything is a conspiracy, deep divers, right? Not everything is a conspiracy, deep divers, but a whole lot is, right? So much is happening. But it's good to question. It's always good to question. So, like George Orwell said, they want to create a control structure for you where you say freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength, and war is peace. In other words, the New World Order is all about reversing everything. And this is what they want for you. They want to reverse everything. They want to give you the COVID-19 test everywhere you go. And you got to say, hey, we ain't having this. Deep divers, this is who the world is run by. These inorganic beings don't have any real power. You have all the power, though. And right now, you have to start realizing that. This is why the whole world is waking up. Shout out to everybody diving deep once again. You know, shout out to everybody who is finally starting to open their eyes. Because that's what it's about, deep divers. You see, I told you, one thing I got to say, deep divers, is how you really become awakened is to think for yourself. Because I told you, in this matrix, they can throw out a story and everybody jumps on the bandwagon. And I told you, right now you're playing chess against chess masters. You have to be smarter than them. So if everyone is saying, you know, Bill Gates is the reason for this whole pandemic, that's one of the reasons, right? Mr. Bill Gates. But he's just a pawn, deep divers. Bill Gates has no real power. I told you. You got to go deeper than that. All of the people you see in power are just puppets. And this is why the whole world is awakening. I told you, spiritual warfare happening right now on the planet. And we have to remind ourselves, deep divers, it's time to roar like the lion. It's time to not be a sheep. Because it's sad to say, but the fact still remains. Human beings are food. I don't think you heard me. I said human beings are food for other inorganic entities. And that's why the whole Pizzagate came out, right? The whole Pizzagate, adrenochrome and all of that stuff. Because this actually goes on. Kane, I appreciate you. Is David Icke right? You know, I went to see David Icke in Wembley many, many years ago. Shout out to David Icke. I got to bring him on Infinite Waters, right? You know, David Icke says a lot of truth. But it's not just about what he's saying. You have to realize everybody should be able to say whatever they want. That's what we call freedom of speech. It's not about if Ralph Smart is right or David Icke is right or wrong. It's about people speaking their truth. What's happened is that they don't want people even speaking their truth. They want to censor people. They want to ban people on YouTube. So this is totally ridiculous. So instead of asking yourself, is someone right or wrong? Say, wait a minute. Why are you trying to ban their freedom of speech? Slow motion this side. Right? I always say be open to everybody's thoughts. You see, that's what maturity is. When you can entertain thoughts, doesn't mean you have to believe in them. Oh, baby. So shout out to everybody in the chat. Deep divers, I'm just chilling in the live stream. I got to do more live streams. So I said, let's do a live stream, deep divers. What's been on your mind? I like that. Elizabeth, shout out to you, Elizabeth. Shout out to everybody on the chat. I'm reading your comments and questions, deep divers. Just throw them in the chat. Elizabeth Alice. Buy into love, not fear. Can I talk about sacred geometry, Ralph? Love to the cat down the road. Absolutely. You see, this whole entire universe, and this is why the whole world is waking up, is built on the golden mean, the golden ratio, the Fibonacci sequence, the flower of life. Can you see that picture behind me, deep divers? That's the flower of life. This is the secret of the universe. Everything has a mathematical design. That's why Tesla said, if you want to know the secrets of the universe, study the numbers 369. This is what nature is built on. Numbers. Sacred geometry. And if you're an artist, you know exactly what I'm talking about. the more you dive into nature, you start to realize that if you look at someone's hair that's curly, you're going to start to see the spiral. Okay, that's spiral. And the spiral, I told you, you see the spiral everywhere you go. You see it in the cosmos. This is the sacred geometry. It's found in galaxies. It's found in people's hair. It's found in the DNA coil. That pattern, that spiral pattern, this is sacred geometry. It's just showing you that everything is connected. It's just showing you that nothing is random in this universe. There's a mathematician behind it. A lot of people call that being the architect of the universe. Life itself is mathematics. Oh, deep diver, shout out to you. Shout out to everybody diving deep. That was a great question. Shout out to you, Elizabeth. So I want to remind you, deep divers, the reason why the world is awakening is because people are starting to realize like that. You know, there is sacred geometry. Also, people are starting to realize that I want you to think of the worst horror film in the world, deep divers. What's the worst horror film you've seen? I don't really watch scary movies, but when I did back in the day, I watched some pretty terrifying, scary movies, right? I remember when I watched The Exorcist. That scary ass music. Well, deep divers, they want to turn your life into a real scary movie. And the film is called Coronavirus, COVID-19. This is the film they want for you. And they've been planning this for a long time. And that's why COVID-19 is coming to a place near you. In fact, it's already there. So how do you counteract this? How do you counteract this? How do you fight the New World Order? They say beware of the New World Order, deep divers. How do you fight Big Brother? Because you know the saying, deep divers, Big Brother is watching you. Oh my gosh. You see, this is why the whole world is awakening. Because I told you, Big Brother is not watching us. We're watching Big Brother. We are the Big Brother, actually. We are the Big Brother watching the small brother and the small sister. What do I mean by that, deep divers? What do I mean by we are Big Brother? We are looking at everything that's going on right now with a critical eye. That's why right now, did you hear about the Wayfair deep divers? Okay. Now this was a conspiracy theory. Let me pull it up. Is it possible where Wayfair involved in human trafficking? So a lot of people are kind of making that connection. The fact that some product names match the names of actual missing children is the strongest evidence so far. Samaya, then you have who the hell is buying a cabinet for $12,899? That's bonkers, deep divers, right? So the reason why I say people are waking up is because even people who weren't even awake, they're starting to connect the dots. And I told you, the more you go down the rabbit hole, the more you start to realize that there's so much happening behind the scenes, you haven't even got a clue. Now, I always say, deep divers, do your own research. Don't believe anything I'm saying or anything anybody says. But it's always interesting when people make these links. A lot of people will say, hey, those people are crazy, man. But you have to realize it's even worse than that, deep divers. It's even worse than that. You got to remind yourself right now, everything is very politically correct. what do you think was happening 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 30 years ago when the internet wasn't this strong? It was hard for us to be big. It was hard for us to be big brother, because deep divers, we are big brother. And big sister. Slow motion this side. And that's why we are watching what's going on. Someone was filming George Floyd. Thank goodness. They were doing the job of the authorities. So it's showing that the whole world is awakening. Right now, everyone has their phone. That's a very powerful device you have in your hands, deep divers. This is my iPhone X. I never leave home without it. Actually, I do, because sometimes this is a pain in the ass. It's watching me every single where I go, deep divers. A lot of people recording stuff. And because of this, we are the power. Because right now, the hidden is coming to light. Everything is being exposed. So I really want you to remind yourself, deep divers, that this is the time to realize the whole world is waking up. Now, do I believe in everything that's shown to me? Not at all. But I always say that's very strange, that the cabinets have the same names as people who have gone missing. You see? And you got to do your own research. That's what I always say. Do your own research. Don't even listen to what they're telling you, even on Reddit or any of these places. Do your own research. Start to connect the dots. This is why a lot of people are waking up on the planet. They're starting to connect the dots. You have to be a dot connector. You see, deep divers, the reason why the whole world is waking up right now is because a lot of people are starting to realize that, you see, what happens, deep divers, if you have all the money in the world? What happens? What do you think happens to you if you got all the money in the world, deep divers? What happens to you if you have a Hollywood star? What do you think happens to you? You know, a lot of people think they look down on everyone else. Kay and I appreciate that. They look down on everyone else. You see, many entities who have actually manipulated the planet for so long, they don't even see you as anything other than food. Now the food they consume is what we call fear. That's the food they need. This is how they survive. The parasitic elite, the parasites, that's what I call them. This is how they survive, through fear. A lot of people scared, can't sleep, thinking bad things are going to happen. A lot of people right now, they're afraid of even touching anybody else, you know. And, you know, the fear, deep divers, has really affected a lot of people. A lot of people right now are afraid. A lot of people believe COVID-19 is real. A lot of people say, gosh, we haven't even got a vaccine yet. And even the preliminary vaccinations, that's just in the trial period right now. So a lot of people are very scared right now. And that's exactly what they want. So the solution is to let love guide you, not fear. This is how you take back your power. And this is why a lot of people are starting to wake up. I'm moving around the place, deep divers. I'm like a grasshopper. I'm seeing people. I'm talking to people. A lot of people meet me. They're like, Ralph, thank you for your videos. And they're like, gosh, we don't have to live in fear anymore. I can see what they're doing. And because a lot of people are starting to see, their third eye is starting to open, this is why the whole world is waking up. Fabio, I appreciate that. Are you referring to the low frequency energy fear produces? Absolutely. Absolutely. Fear is a very low vibration, very low frequency. one of the lowest frequencies. And anytime you wake up with fear, you are creating psychosomatic illnesses. There's something called a placebo effect. And placebo effect is just if you take a sugar pill, they tell you, hey, it's going to heal you. And you're healed all of a sudden. But there's also something called the nocebo effect. And this is what's happened, where there's not actually anything. And people say, hey, I feel a certain way right now. I'm healed. I'm this, I'm that. You know, as a psychologist, I'll tell you the mind can literally create its own biochemistry. We've had Dr. Bruce Lipton on Infinite Waters. If you haven't seen that show, go and watch it. He talked about the biology of belief. We literally program our DNA through our thoughts and beliefs. So if you wake up in fear, you're programming your DNA to be in fear, which is a state of arrested development. And that's why it's so important to never be afraid. When you're afraid, you start creating things which weren't even there in the first place. What? Slow motion this side. I don't think you heard me, deep divers. I said, when you're afraid, you start to create things which weren't even there in the first place. Oh, deep divers, we're going to drop a bomb on that one. Shout out to everybody diving deep once again. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Deep divers, what's been on your mind? I got to talk to deep divers right now in the chat. How are you finding everything that's happening on the planet, deep divers? How do you find everything that's happened right now? I like that. Pella, I'm going to answer your question. How do we activate the junk DNA? That's a phenomenal question. How do we activate the junk DNA? That's a good question. Spam this so he sees. Hey, don't spam me, Pella. How do you activate your junk DNA? And what do you do for the powers? That's a phenomenal question. You see, deep divers, I want to remind you that we are the true superheroes. We are the true superheroes. This is how to activate your superhuman powers. This is how to activate your superhuman powers. Meditation. That's how to activate your junk DNA. There's a reason why they don't teach meditation in schools. Because the more you meditate, and even take psychedelics, Fabio, shout out to you. Seems to me psychedelics need to be legalized. Well, that's the thing. I was inspired by people like Terence McKenna, who is really the godfather of psychedelics. You should listen to what he has to say. But you have to realize that when you take psychedelics, magic mushroom, psilocybin, all of these things, you enter a whole nother reality. And this is what our ancient ancestors used to do. In fact, in ancient Egypt, they used to have the lotus flower. And you have all kind of weird trips to other dimensions. You start flying, you get your wings back. You know, they used to tell you Red Bull gives you wings. That's a load of bullshit. No. The love vibration gives you wings. But to activate the junk DNA, have you seen the film Lucy, deep divers? If you haven't, it's a great film. And it's really about your ancestor Lucy, who was found in Ethiopia. This is where all human beings come from. But in that film, she's basically tapping into her junk DNA. She's activating over 90% of her brain functioning. And this is why she's able to see everything in binary. When she looks around, everything is zeros and ones. That's what happens when you begin to activate your junk DNA. You can do this every single day. You can learn how to do it by learning how to create whole brain functioning, left brain, right brain. I'm left-handed, deep divers. I don't think you heard me. I said I'm left-handed, deep divers. I write with my left hand, but also my right hand. I'm ambidextrous. Ambidextrous. Left and right. That's how to activate the junk DNA, whole brain functioning. Do you know, deep divers, my grandma was left-handed, and growing up, when she was in Africa, they used to beat her because apparently if you wrote with your left hand back then, it was a curse. You were a witch. Do you know why they used to burn witches on the stake, deep divers? Because they were able to see the illusion, and therefore they were a threat. Same with left-handed people. Because left-handed people are using their right brain hemisphere. Let me say that again. Left-handed people are using the right brain hemisphere, which is creativity. This is how to activate your junk DNA. Most of the world is right-handed, which is the left brain hemisphere, which is about logic. So if you can learn how to write with your left hand, you're going to tap into the right brain hemisphere. That's why Eminem writes with his left hand. That's why he's one of the greatest MCs on the planet, because he's activating the right brain hemisphere. That's why I only do videos in one take, because I'm left-handed, activating the right brain hemisphere. So my whole brain is wired differently. This is how to activate the junk DNA. And this is what they know. They won't teach you it. See, there's a reason why the majority of the planet write with their right hand. And your right hand is linked to your left brain, which is logic, which is the prison of the 3D matrix. The right brain is the fifth dimension. And that's how to activate the junk DNA. You have to start learning how to use both brain hemispheres. What? Slow motion this side. That was a phenomenal question. Thank you to you, Pella. That was a wonderful question. Divaology. I like that. I'm here in this broadcast for a reason. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, your knowledge. I appreciate that. Diva, are you a diva? Shout out to everybody diving deep. Once again, deep diver, shout out to everybody in the chat. I hope you're enjoying the show. But that's the big thing. That was a powerful question. You see, there are people who can do phenomenal things. And the only reason they can do this is because they're not plugged into the collective. And when you realize this, there's something called 100 monkey syndrome. When one monkey learns one thing, another monkey can learn at the same time. So when you realize that when someone can break a world record in running, for example, now that is possible in the collective, someone else can beat that record. And this is how evolution takes place. Fascinating stuff. Deep diver, shout out to everybody diving deep. But we are literally, we can do superhuman things. The reason why athletes can perform at a superhuman level is because they're training. They have muscle memory. They're in the zone. Keyword zone. When you're in the zone, deep divers, you become superhuman. But a lot of people don't have the focus right now. Well, a lot of people are going to have to have that focus to transcend the limitations of the 3D. Shout out to everybody diving deep who's awakening. I want to give a shout out. I want to give an applause to everybody right now who's on the chat. Deep divers, I love all of you. shout out to everybody who is really knowing there's so much more than what they were told. You see, I want to remind you of this, deep divers, that, okay, that's a good question as well. Let me pull it up. That's a great question. What do you think about that as well, deep divers? What do you think about this? Can anyone talk about pandemic 2? Bill Gates said in one interview, we're getting ready for pandemic 2. Some people call it the second wave. You see, I told you, deep divers, they're pulling out all the stops on this one because time is running out. And the only way they can control the planet is to have pandemic 2, which is on the way, by the way. It will come around October. But once again, the way out of this, deep divers, is to remind yourself you are not powerless. You are powerful. What? Slow motion this side. Let me show you, deep divers. Let me show you how powerful you are. Wait a minute. Are you ready to see how powerful you are? Paradox Trippy Face, I appreciate that. We love you from Sacramento all the way into Oregon. I need help tuning in more. I have faith, but I feel I teeter-totter out of my vision. I need to stay tapped in. Woo! That's a great question. You need help tuning in more. Let me tell you this. When we talk of just tuning in, you have to learn how to tune out first and foremost. You see, this is why a lot of people can't tune in, Paradox Trippy Face, because a lot of people are tuned out. They're tuned out of themselves. Have you heard of out-of-body experiences, deep divers? Surely, right? People say, Ralph, have you had an out-of-body experience? I'm a Pisces, deep divers, all the time. But what you want as well is an inner-body experience. And this is how to start tuning in. You have to remind yourself, deep divers, they want your attention. Every single second, news reporters want your attention. The media want your attention. TMZ want your attention. BuzzFeed want your attention. BBC want your attention. CNN want your attention. But it's all fake news. It's all fake news. So if that's fake news, where's the real news? If that's fake news, where's the real news? The real news is within you. What? Slow motion this side. You see, I always say a lot of people checking out, not many people checking in. Right? A lot of people wake up, they go on the Instagram feed, YouTube, they go on Twitter, they go on Facebook. They do everything outside there and they forget to check in. You got to check in, baby. You got to check in. That's how to tune in. Every single day I'm checking in. You have to make the world in here more interesting than the world out there, because the whole world is a stage, deep divers. I told you. That's what the New World Order is about. It's all a setup. It's all a stage. And that's why it's all about deception. This is how they control the whole planet. D Nice Mellow, I appreciate you. Metaphysical Mike, thank you so much. 3333. Check out Metaphysical Mike. doing wonderful things on YouTube as well. This is how they control you, through the disguise. So I want to remind you, deep divers, you can turn the energy around. Paradox trippy face, you can turn the energy around. If you want to tune in more, let me know how this makes you feel. Let me know how this makes you feel. I want to sing as high as that. I want to sing as high as that. You know, that's how you tune in, deep divers. As you know, I'm a classical guitarist. I play instruments, deep divers. You tune in through music. You know, music is one of the greatest tools you have right now to access other dimensions. Music is time travel. And when you learn about frequencies, vibrations through music, sound bath, sound healing, it's over. When you learn about Tibetan bowls, when you learn about all of that stuff, deep divers, you learn how to tune in. You really learn how to tune in. That was a great question. Deep divers, shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm here for you, deep divers. I said I'm here for you. I don't think you heard me. I said I'm here for you, deep divers. Shout out to everybody in the chat, deep divers. Music is soul vibration, absolutely. You're a DJ and music producer and art painter. That's beautiful. Okay, we got a good question here. Shout out to everybody in the chat, deep divers. We got the whole live stream set up going real smooth right now. All that is love. Your advice to awaken people in Saudi Arabia who have very conservative points of views. Thank you. I want to remind you of this, deep divers. When you realize that being awake is a privilege. I don't think you heard me. I said being awake is a privilege. Let me say it one more time. Being awake is a privilege. I've traveled to many countries, and sometimes a lot of other people live in oppressive regimes. A lot of people, if they talk about stuff, they're thrown in jail. If you are somebody who can think for themselves and has their freedom of speech, consider yourself fortunate. If you are in a place where people have conservative views, be the one who influences that. Be the one who starts to voice your opinion, and then unite with other people who share a similar view than you. It's all about strength in numbers, deep divers. Divided we fall, united we stand. That's simple, right? So you have to stand connected, and you have to stand by other people who are awakening. Shout out to everybody diving deep. Deep divers, I told you it's time to...
Let's get ready to rumble!
I just always wanted to do that on the live stream, deep divers. I got these special effects. We're just having fun right now. So, shout out to you. Shout out to everybody diving deep. I want to remind you right now, deep divers. Absolutely. I'm not saying this, deep divers. This is what I'm reading. Shout out to you, Shastina. Prayers for America as she is falling. You see, Babylon is falling, deep divers, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. Because I told you, once a fire has consumed everything, the only thing left for a fire to consume is itself. And this is why the house is on fire right now. This is why things seem off right now. Because what you're seeing is the collapse of an entire society. An entire civilization is coming to an end. And this is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. This is the last days, deep divers. That's why people on their knees, because they know, gosh, cat down the road, help me out here. There's nothing to fear. I told you. This is nothing more than a new beginning for the chosen ones. Nothing more than a new beginning. And the reason why the whole world is waking up right now, deep divers, is because a lot of people are starting to use their platform. A lot of people are starting to speak up. If that's you right now, if that's you who's starting to speak up, congratulations, deep divers. If that's you who's using your Instagram to put out awakening messages to other people, congratulations. If you are making YouTube videos helping to awaken other people, congratulations. If you're on Twitter doing the same, congratulations, deep divers. That was a long clap, deep divers, because you deserve it. You deserve it, deep divers. Someone asked, Brookie B asked, what can we do to raise our vibration to ascend into 5D? That's a great question. You see, when we talk of the fifth dimension, we have to all realize, deep divers, there's levels to this shit. There really are levels, and I know that for a fact. And when we talk of dimensions, you know, we're born into the 3D. This is all we know. But there are dimensions beyond the 3D. And when you are in dimensions as the fifth dimension, you become so free, so blissful, so at peace with yourself. In other words, you start to know who you really are. And this is why they want everyone wearing a mask. Because they don't want you to wake up. They don't want your eyes to open. They don't want you to connect with who you really are. So to raise your vibration to ascend to 5D, that's what you got to do. You got to connect with who you really are. You got to start raising those arms up, baby. Oh, baby. You got to start getting into nature, deep divers. I told you. That's the secret. You got to start having an inner dialogue with yourself every single day to say, wait a minute, I'm not even the thoughts I'm thinking. I'm the observer behind the thoughts. This is how to raise your vibration to ascend to 5D. We have to lose these identities we've created in the matrix. See, a lot of people, deep divers, wake up and as soon as they wake up, they give themselves a right hard time. What do? They compare themselves to other people. And this is why a lot of people are stuck in the 3D. A lot of people are on social media apps which aren't serving them. A lot of people are even in jobs, deep divers, which aren't serving them, right? They know the job is bad for them. They know they're stressed out, but they're stuck. This is how you stay in the 3D. When you are doing something against your will. A lot of people got to wake up tomorrow real early, go to a job they absolutely hate. If you want to ascend to the 5D, you got to learn the secret of alchemy. I don't think you heard me. I said you got to learn the secret of alchemy. Deep divers, let's drop a bomb on this one. Oh, I woke up like this, deep divers. All magical and shit. So that's the thing. You can do so many things. Ultimately, it's the love frequency that will take you there. Avatar, 1982. The COVID-19 vaccine will mutate human DNA, but we ain't having it. Not now, not ever. I love that. I love that. I love that. Absolutely. 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 Avatar, thank you for that comment. And that's what it's about, deep divers. You know, Avatar, 1982. The COVID-19 vaccine will mutate human DNA, but we ain't having it. Not now, not ever. Absolutely. You see, deep divers, that's what this is all about. And that's why they want to screen you at airports. This is what they want for you. Before you can travel on an aeroplane, they want to say, hey, do you have the COVID-19 test? Have you passed it? Are you negative? That's what they want to know. Because if you don't pass this test, they want to have you in a prison. They want to put you in quarantine for the rest of your life. And what it's really about is to mutate the human DNA. So the power that we have is to say, we ain't having this, deep divers. You know, in fact, I know one woman who's a nurse, and she's saying that they're already doing temperature checks every day. When she goes into work, they're doing temperature checks. It's already in place, deep divers. A lot of people, this is their reality. And I say, we got to say we ain't having it. The whole world is waking up right now, deep divers, because a lot of people are saying we ain't having it. Not now, not ever. Deep divers, I said, a lot of people are waking up right now because they're saying we ain't having it. Not now, not ever. Yes, that's a very powerful comment. Thank you for that. Shout out to you wonderful deep divers. King, I appreciate you. Metaphysical Mike, I believe in you. I appreciate that. May the universe protect you, sending you good energy, sending you abundance your way. I want to remind you of this, deep divers. One thing I want you to remind yourself is that the whole world is awakening. But like Metaphysical Mike, who has a great YouTube channel you should check out, right now, knowing is not enough. If you know about what's really going on behind the scenes, that's not enough. You have to start applying what you know to say, wait a minute, what am I doing with this information? And if you do, then you're waking up, because you're starting to realize I can do something about it. You don't want to be just a walking library. You want to actually create something tangible. You want to create an impact, a deep impact. So the whole world is waking up right now, because a lot of people are starting to say, wait a minute, what are these platforms for? What if I told you, deep divers, YouTube is actually more powerful than MSNBC. Instagram is more powerful than Fox News. Twitter is more powerful than CNN. Facebook is more powerful than the BBC. All of these social media apps are the new forms of communication on the planet. So if you can hack these social media apps and put in the message, it's over. That's what's happening. You know, I'm not on TikTok, but a lot of people are. And you can wake up a lot of people on TikTok. The Cosmic Butterfly, I appreciate all of you, deep divers. The whole world is awakening. So one thing I want to remind you of, deep divers, is because someone actually sent me this. The fact that some product names match the names of actual missing children is the strongest evidence so far. So in other words, this was all about how Wayfair could possibly be involved in human trafficking, because people were saying, well, people who went missing, they had their name and they were selling cabinets for like $12,899, which had the same name, and this is part of human trafficking. You know, I always tell you this, deep divers, do your own research. But I will also tell you, nothing is out of the question, because you got to remind yourself that, what do you think was happening before the internet? This stuff was really happening before the internet. Now people are starting to wake up, but this stuff was always happening. Child trafficking, human trafficking was always happening. It's still happening all around the world every single day. So this stuff really goes on. But at the same time, don't jump on every story you see. Do your own research, because you got to ask yourself, where did this come from? What's the facts? You know, this is how you do research, which will give you better results. Because if you just go on a story, you're just a parrot. You're just repeating what everyone else has said. So before I say, oh, yeah, Wayfair are trafficking people, I say, wait a minute, I got to do my own research, right? So you don't want to just jump on the bandwagon. Richard Riviera, I appreciate that, 333. Shout out to you. The whole world is awakening. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Deep divers, talk to me. Okay, I feel you. Island Girl, I feel you. And this is what happens to a lot of people. Island Girl 473, shout out to you. I'm waking up, but I feel disconnected. And that's a powerful statement, because a lot of people will feel disconnected. Happened to me. You know, we call it derealization. That's the word for it. Derealization. You know, when you go deep down the rabbit hole, deep divers, sometimes you reach the point of no return. When you start to see this matrix for what it really is, deep divers, when you start to see this, when you start to go into the matrix and see what it is, what's really going on, you are going to feel disconnected because, in other words, you are disconnecting from the system. What? Slow motion this side. That's why if you are waking up and you feel disconnected, it's because you are disconnecting from the entire system. And it's a lonely road. But you're never alone, though. But it can be a lonely journey because you got to remind yourself your whole family are programmed in the Matrix, eating cornflakes and Weetabix. Riz and I appreciate you. I've experienced the disconnected feeling, repeating patterns, but to truly free yourself is to feel connected to everything. Oh, baby. That's what you got to do. You know, this is a powerful time, deep divers. I want to remind you, I felt disconnected when I had my spiritual awakening back in the day. I was disconnected from society. But what I realized was because I was detaching from the Matrix. And when you let go of something, you are going to feel disconnected from it. But at the same time, this will lead you to start realizing everything is connected. And so many people right now are waking up on the planet. So many people are waking up. Just look at what's happening on the world stage right now. Do you know there were protests in Serbia, deep divers? There were protests everywhere on the planet. But in Serbia, there were protests because what happened was they want to impose a second lockdown in Serbia. So you had so many people protesting in the streets saying, hey, we don't want to have this nonsense. And they were beating people up, but they don't show this in the media. So you got to remind yourself the whole world is waking up right now. Just see what's happening on the planet, because I told you, right now, they want to put humanity in a chokehold. And this is the future they want for you. This is the future they want for you. And you have to say, wait a minute, hold on a second. Hey, DJ, change that music. You got to tell the DJ to change the music. But remind yourself, if you feel disconnected, that's healthy. That's natural. You want to feel disconnected. You want to be uncomfortable because it means that you are becoming free of the Matrix. You're creating your own reality. That's what it's about. You're taking the red pill. That's what it's about. You know, a lot of people feel disconnected who are waking up. And remind yourself of this. Into Base, shout out to you, 1111. Fabio, shout out to you. A lot of people are waking up. And when you wake up, deep divers, I want to remind you of this. Your whole family, because you got to remind yourself, everyone wakes up at a different time. Everyone wakes up at a different time, deep divers. You know, my mom is a devout Christian. When I was young, I was saying, hey, I don't believe in religion. She said, what? I said, do you know that more people have died in religious wars than anything else? She said, what? I don't want to go to church anymore, Mom. Oh my gosh. So it was lonely, because when you are rebelling, and this is what Osho talked about, there's a difference between revolution and rebellion. Rebellion is about the inward change. And this is where the real change happens in rebellion. When you rebel, it's more powerful than a revolution. And when you're rebelling, you disregard everything society throws at you. Society told you, hey, wake up, shut up, go to work. And you're like, hey, we ain't having it. Unless it's something I love to do. But I'm not going to spend my entire day complaining about it. Right? So realize, deep divers, we are never alone. Absolutely. You have to remind yourself of this. You said Jesus also went through a spiritual awakening. I want to remind you of this, deep divers. Shout out to you, Ariana. You know, there were many spiritual masters, and there still are to this day. Many spiritual masters. Osho, Krishnamurti, the cat down the road, Buddha, okay, Krishna. You have many spiritual masters. But then someone made a religion out of it. And this is the problem. Religion is about control. And this is why the whole world is waking up, because a lot of people are starting to realize that. You know, there's a big difference between religion and spirituality. Shout out to you, Raven. Tell us how twin flames are a part of the awakening. That's a great question. That's a wonderful question. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I see you, deep divers. When you really realize, when we talk of the twin flame connection, when we talk of the twin flame connection, when we talk of unity, any kind of unity, it brings you back to this vibration. That's what it's all about, deep divers. That's what it's all about, deep divers. That's what the twin flame connection is all about. It's just a reminder of this vibration. You know, on a deeper level, first and foremost, you have to become your own twin flame. You have to fall in love with yourself first and foremost. When you do that, you start to meet your reflection. And that's what the twin flame connection is all about. It's the losing of separation. It's the losing of separation. And it's a stepping into oneness. That's what the twin flame is all about. It's the losing of separation. And it's the stepping into oneness. SSL, shout out to you. Very beautifully put. Twin flame is not romance. It's about love. Absolutely. Slow motion. Invisible slow motion, deep divers. Slow motion this side. That's what it's about. Twin flame is not about romance. It's about love. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the big thing, deep divers. When you realize that so many people right now are searching for someone to keep them warm at night, to massage their crusty toes. Or beautiful toes, deep divers, I have no idea. But the one you're seeking is actually you. And this is what many people fail to see. The one you've been searching for is you. You see, nobody can complete you if you don't complete yourself. People can add to the wholeness, but you have to fill the cup, the cosmic butterfly, absolutely. Once your cup is full, then you can live life with more energy and passion. Make yourself a priority. Oh, baby. Oh, I got to give you a round of applause for that. Let me drop a bomb for you. That's a bomb of love. Absolutely. You got to fill your own cup, which means that you have to be in a state of knowing who you are. A lot of the love in the matrix is superficial, is shallow. And this is why a lot of people get stuck in bad relationships, bad attitude. It's why a lot of relationships end in divorce, breakup, heartbreak, because it's based on romance. It's not based on love. Romance, what's the difference between romance and love? That's the question. Romance is just for a short time. Love is eternal. No slow motion deserves one, though. We're living in a world where it's all about the look. And love is all about the feel. This is what the twin flame is all about. It's about the feel. It's not about the look. A lot of things look good in the Matrix, but they're bad for you. Candy looks fantastic in display, right? Very bad for you. Shout out to everybody diving deep. Dominic, I appreciate that. The whole world is awakening, deep divers. How have you been, deep divers? Talk to me. What's been on your mind? How do you feel the whole world is going right now? What is your biggest thing that's on your mind? Shout out to you, Swank. Confirmations. Absolutely. Love is eternal all the time. And that's very true. This is why the whole world is awakening, because a lot of people are realizing that you have to love yourself first before you can love anyone else. You've got to love yourself first. And loving yourself first is not always about what you think. We often think self-love is just about giving yourself attention, but not in all cases. In fact, self-love is sometimes about protecting your energy. That's what self-love is. And protecting your energy is also about standing up for what you believe in. If you are wearing a mask and you don't want to wear a mask, that's not self-love. If you are doing something against your will every single day, you're waking up, bad attitude, that's not self-love. But if you are taking time, play the guitar in the morning, play an instrument, go into nature, that's what self-love is about. If you are somebody who's tapping into who you are, that's what self-love is about. If you are somebody right now who knows that they are free, powerful, infinite, that's what self-love is about. See, and this is what self-love is all about. It's about your freedom, right? Shout out to everybody diving deep in the chat. Deep divers, I got love for you. Talk to me. What's good? We're live streaming, deep divers. The whole world. Shout out to you, Jocelyn. That was powerful. That's a powerful statement right there. That's a powerful statement right there. I don't wear the mask. I choose air. What? Slow motion this side. Now, like I say, deep diver, some people might need to wear a mask. I'm not here to tell you to wear a mask or not. You got to do what's best for you. But you have to remind yourself, if you are somebody, do you know I saw somebody who was running with a mask on, deep divers? They can't breathe. And this is why a lot of people are in a state of ignorance. And this is why a lot of people aren't waking up, who are plugged into the matrix, because you're just listening to what they tell you on the news, not realizing what they really want to do and what this is all about. What this is all about is to take your breath away. That's what this is all about. So you got to say, wait a minute. Ain't nobody got time for that. I'm just, woo! Breathing in that good ass prana. I don't think you saw me. I said, I'm just, woo! Breathing in that good ass prana, baby. That's what you got to do. You know, you got to take off the mask and just breathe in that good ass prana, baby. The whole world is awakening right now, deep divers. But what I want to tell you, deep divers, is that, you know, in 2019, Adria Martin, I appreciate that. Thank you. In 2019, I did say that there are going to be a lot of musical artists who are going to come through, who are going to have such a powerful message in their music. And because of this whole lockdown, this is why the whole world is awakening. Like COVID-19, lockdown has been on everyone's mind for a long time. Enlighten one love, shout out to you. Love trumps all. The king and the pawn go into the same box when the game is over. Be kind and love all. Oh my gosh. Slow motion this side. Absolutely. Absolutely. That was powerful right there. Shout out to everybody diving deep. So I want to remind you, deep divers, that you don't want to be living in fear. You do not want to be living in fear right now. You got to remind yourself, deep divers, you don't have to convince anybody of anything. You know, this is why the whole world is waking up. You know, Michael, you said, Ralph, my friend, how to stop sharing to family is exhausting after 2 years. It's exhausting after 2 years. You didn't come here to wake other people up. It's too late, deep divers. It's too late to do that, because people are going to believe whatever they want to believe. What you have to do is focus on yourself and focus on the people who are open to the information. A lot of people don't want to wake up and see the truth. That's okay. Even people in our own family. It's not a bad thing. It's just that everybody wakes up at a different time. This isn't for everybody. So you have to remind yourself that you can take a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. Oh, baby. We're having fun today, deep divers. We're having fun today, deep divers. The whole world is waking up. I truly feel that. I know that. And it's powerful. It's so powerful right now. What I want to remind you of, deep divers, my whole intention is not to be a guru. I told you I'm not a guru. I'm just a guide. I'm just a friend. And the cat down the road is also a friend of yours, right? Exactly. I'm here to empower other people to sit on the throne as well. You see, in a world full of masters, who rules? What? Slow motion this side. And that's what's happening. That's why the whole world is awakening. I'm just a guide. All of these spiritual masters, whether it's Buddha, Jesus, Osho, Krishnamurti, are just people like you and I, no different. Everybody is the same. Everybody has the same power. It's just that other people are more tapped in than others. But everyone has the same access to the same reservoir of energy. And when you realize this, you start to wake up. Do you know that meditation is a portal? You can literally time travel. And this is why the more you meditate, the more you leave this planet. You're out of here. You've left Earth. You've gone to space. Right? Because that's what they always knew in ancient cultures. It's called the Merkaba. Mer, vehicle, car, spirit, bar, body. Your spirit body. You literally have a spaceship inside of you. You can travel, deep divers. You can leave this earth realm at any time. All you got to do is tap in. Shy Barkley, I appreciate you. Advice for people breaking into the entertainment industry. Are there hidden agendas we should be aware of? That's a great question. That's a great question. Let me pull that up, deep divers. Shout out to everybody in the chat, deep divers. I hope your day is going good. Shy Barkley. Advice for people breaking into the entertainment industry. Are there hidden agendas we should be aware of? I want you to answer this yourself, deep divers. When you see the Hollywood Walk of Fame, what comes to your mind? I remember coming to this place for the first time, and I was like, ooh, there's so many stars right now. I'm walking over. And I started to read, I saw Michael Jackson's star. I saw Sean Connery. I saw all kind of stars there. And this is what a lot of people want. They want their star on the Walk of Fame. If you want to get into the entertainment industry, that's not a bad thing. But realize there's a price to pay. And there is a deal that has to be signed. I did that video, Celebrities Who Sold Their Soul. Mr. West, Kanye West said, I sold my soul to the devil for a crappy deal. At least it came with a few toys like a Happy Meal. You think he's joking? Because if you want to have 100 million followers on a Beyonce level, Ariana Grande level, you need to make some deals, deep divers. You don't just get into that place by accident. You got to sign some deals first. And if you ever get a chance, I want you to watch, there's a commercial with James Brown. Okay, James Brown is saying, gosh, shout out to James Brown, the legend, the godfather of soul, right? But in that commercial, he meets the devil and he's saying, gosh, I want to do the old moves I used to be able to do. How can I buy more time, right? And that whole commercial is deep, because this is what happens. There are artists who can make it in the entertainment industry and stay free, independent, but these are artists who they didn't sign the big deal. It's a lot harder to blow up that way. But if you want them to promote you, because I told you, this realm, this 3D matrix, they run this shit. I don't think you heard me. I said they run this whole matrix. They own everything in the matrix. The realm that we are in is this realm. This is our power. This is our power. But the realm they control is the entertainment industry, the sports industry, the media. But this right here, they control this whole thing. And that's why they can choose who gets an Oscar. They can choose who gets a Grammy. In fact, you can do your own research. The CEO of the Grammys, okay, the head of the Grammys, she was saying, hey, it's all rigged. They literally pick whoever they want. And this is why you have to realize, if you are looking to get famous in the entertainment industry, you have to be very careful. But if you are willing to inspire people, go for it. Because once again, you can reach a lot of people, but you have to be mindful that you will be presented with a deal. I was offered a deal, deep divers. You know, when I was in Hollywood back in the days, there was a guy who came to me. He wanted to do a show with myself and 2 other people, very big influencers. It was a show called Spirit Watcher. And basically we would take normal people off the streets and then start dissecting their problems they're having in their life. And it will be like a reality TV show. And they're like, hey, you can be part of this show. We met in Santa Monica, and the guy offered me some long ass contract. All he said, just sign here. I said, what? What's the contract though? As I was reading the contract, it was saying all kind of weird things. You got to do this, you got to do that. You got to be here at a certain time. And all the rights to the productions will be owned by us. I'm like, what? What's going on here? Shout out to you. Veganese, I appreciate that lioness love. But, big up to you. So when I was reading the contract, I'm like, hey, this is a bad idea. And I didn't sign it when I was in the meeting. I went back and I said, should I sign this deal? Then I said, wait a minute. I kind of forgot. They were ringing my phone. I said, And I'm happy I didn't, because you see, a lot of people don't know what they're getting themselves into, especially a lot of artists. A lot of artists get screwed over. You got to remind yourself, why did Prince say he's a slave? You know, Prince was a phenomenal artist. But there was a time when Prince had to lose his name. He just became a symbol because they screwed him over. Luckily, in the end, he got his masters back. But a lot of artists don't own their masters. In other words, they don't own the publishing. So if you want to get into the entertainment industry, you have to have the rights to your own publishing. That's the only way you can win. If you do that, then it's going to be okay for you. But if you don't, you're always going to be a slave. That's why Jay-Z bought back the Blueprint album for $5 million. Because he knows that if he has the publishing, he's always going to be wealthy. Most artists don't own the publishing. They can't own the publishing. If you sign a record contract and say, hey, I want the publishing, they'll be like, no. They'll be like, no. So it's not as easy just say, hey, I want to own my publishing, unless you go independent. But if you sign to a label, a major label, Sony, Arista, all of these companies, they don't want you to own your masters, because that's 100% profit to you. So they give you a tiny few cents. That's why a lot of artists aren't as rich as you think. A lot of artists are broke, to be honest. MJ owned half of Sony, absolutely. MJ, you know, the king of pop, he owned half of Sony. And that's the thing. When you really realize, deep divers, you know, Michael Jackson wasn't stupid, man. He was smart. He was smart. He owned even the Beatles catalog. And that's why they wanted him out of here, because he owned so much of Sony that, you know, a lot of people didn't like that. Same as Prince. You know, you got to remind yourself, Prince was riding on a bike. He was healthy. Prince was a vegan. And then, you know, you're telling me that with all of this technology, the last photo of Prince looks like it's shot up with a potato? Something isn't adding up. And do you know that Prince's last Instagram post was just when you thought it was safe? That was Prince's last Instagram post. Then they deleted it mysteriously. So Prince was doing shows before he even passed away. He was healthy. What the hell happened? Because once again, when you enter the entertainment industry, there are certain things that it says in your contract. Have you heard of Scientology, deep divers? I'm sure you have. Do you know that a Scientology contract says that we can own you for 1 billion years? Do you know that a Scientology contract says we can own you for 1 billion years? And people actually sign that contract. Well, the music contracts, there's a lot of hidden lingo. And that's why I always say, that's why Kanye West in the song New Slave said, you know, he was talking about the contracts. You know, we can't read, you know, just saying that all of the hidden jargon inside of those contracts, you need a lawyer to look through it. You don't even know what the hell you're signing, because there's a lot of, they have the long contracts. Most people don't even have time to read it. You know, 10 pages, some even more. And there's a lot of hidden things inside of those contracts. That's why a lot of artists don't even know what they're getting themselves into. So if you want to go into the entertainment industry, make sure you're independent, make sure you own your publishing, and make sure you don't chase fame. You know, fame is a very bad drug. The cat down the road doesn't chase fame, deep divers, because it's already famous. But that's a great question. And I told you, this is the year of the artist. This is the year where all the artists come awake. This is the year where all the artists rise up. Because a lot of artists are super awake right now. But at the same time, they've signed deals. They can't say anything. That's in the contract. So they got to act dumb. They got to act stupid. So if you're an artist, like all of the mainstream artists, a lot of them know stuff, but they can't talk about it because they're in a contract. If they say stuff, they lose the deal. And things happen. Things go wrong. Things break down. They go missing. And that's why a lot of artists get screwed over. Yosef, I appreciate that. You're a legend. Thank you for saving my life. I appreciate you. Thank you for saving my life. And the cat down the roads. I appreciate all of you. We just put in the horn for you, Yusuf. So realize that nothing is more powerful than being an influencer, being an artist especially. You have so much power to influence people for the good, but you have to remind yourself that fame is a false reality. And it comes at a big price, big price. You see, nobody is just pumped up unless they want you to be pumped up. Nobody is pumped up without them wanting you to be pumped up. You see, this is why the whole world is awakening. Benjamin Tanner says, Ralph, what are you thinking of XXX Tentacion? Shout out to X. Shout out to all the artists who, you know, left the planet in a hurry. But X was the Tupac of the new generation. Because he was very awake. So they realized that shit, this person has the most clout, even more than Tekashi 6ix9ine. XXX Tentacion, he only had one picture on Instagram, for goodness sakes. And he had like over 20 million followers. Do you know what that means? It means that if he says do this, millions of people are going to do that. So he had tremendous power. And because of that, you know, a lot of people know how special his music is. And, you know, he lives on. His music lives on. Shout out to Juice WRLD as well. Juice WRLD, phenomenal artist. Shout out to Kendrick Lamar. Shout out to all the artists out there. But I want to remind you, deep divers, that Shout out to everybody in the chat. Deep divers, the whole world is waking up right now. Love to all the woke artists. Absolutely. Absolutely. Much love to all the woke artists out there. You see, I'm also a musician, deep divers. That's why I always talk about the power of music. The power of music. You know, there's a power of music that you have to look into. Shout out to everybody diving deep once again. My first time live with you, Ralph. Deep diver, peace, excited. Well, you just come at the right time. You've just come in at the right time. Welcome. Welcome home. The whole world is waking up. You see, deep divers, what I want to tell you is that when am I dropping the album? Very soon. Stay tuned. Is that you have to learn how to put in subliminal messages. This is the only hope you have. If you want to impact the masses as an artist, you're going to have to learn how to be smart. Get them with the beat, then drop in the information. What? Slow motion this side. See, a lot of woke artists have great message, terrible beat. A lot of mainstream artists have great beat, terrible message. So you want both. You want the good beat and the good message. That's how you win. That's how you influence millions. Step up your production game, deep divers. The whole world is awakening, deep divers. So, like I said, can you feel that system failure? I can feel it, deep divers. I can feel that. You know, that's why I think a lot of people right now are just watching how this all plays out right now. People are just watching how it all plays out because a lot of people know that something huge is happening right now. And everyone has got their popcorn. Shout out to everybody diving deep in the chat. Akashic Record. Shout out to you all knowing 369. How do you access the Akashic Records to see where the elites are or other stuff, etc.? Only astral projection? There's something called remote viewing. And this is the power of meditation that I was telling you about. You learn how to remote view, deep divers. Woo! It's over. You can literally go in, travel into time and space. You can travel ahead of time. And this is what they actually did in the Vietnam War. They employed remote viewers to see enemy bases. You know, and the art of remote viewing is how to see what's going on. The Akashic Records, which is the book of all information on the planet, is truly how to know what's really going on. When you enter the Akashic Records, you will start to realize the world is not what you think it is. Reality is not what you think it is. And everything you've been taught is up for questioning. You start to realize that there's so much happening behind the scenes. Yes, we are the architects of our own reality. We can create it. But when you access the Akashic Records, you start to realize that we aren't the only ones. So, how do you access the Akashic Records? Once again, you got to take those trips, baby. You got to take those long ass trips. And once you take those trips, just through going on the journey within, just through time traveling, just through tapping in, you can start to access the Akashic Records. when you really to go into nature, when you really start to immerse yourself in nature every single day, you can access the Akashic records. You know, the Akashic records is a history of everything that's ever happened on this planet. Everything is being recorded and written down at every single time, every second. I saw some crazy things in the Akashic records, deep divers. Shout out to everybody diving deep. Deep divers, I got love for you. I want to remind you right now, this is not the time to feel disempowered. This is the time to feel empowered. The whole world is awakening. And a lot of people know this. But I want to remind you, nothing is static. Nothing is permanent. Just as you awaken, you can go back to sleep. They know that a lot of people awaken from time to time. People awakened in 2012, deep divers. You remember Zeitgeist, Thrive, all of those documentaries? Then people went right back to sleep. Janice, I appreciate that. Thank you. Much love to you. Janice Erkins, thank you. So remind yourself, just as you awaken, make sure you learn how to stay awake. Shout out to Nas, who said, I never sleep because sleep is the cousin of death. You don't want to go to sleep. You want to keep one eye open, just like a crocodile. You want to stay awake, deep divers, because just as you are awake, you can go right back to sleep. A lot of people I knew were awake at one point. They were awake at one point, then they went right back in the Matrix. What do you think the film The Matrix was all about, deep divers? Cypher in the Matrix started to wake up and say, oh my gosh, everything in the Matrix is fake. Everything in the Matrix is an illusion. Cypher started to research what's really going on. Then what happened to Cypher in the Matrix? He said, wait a minute. You know what? This stuff is crazy. Plug me back in the Matrix. Right? So you want to make sure that you're Neo. You want to make sure you're Neo in the Matrix. You want to make sure you're the chosen one. You want to make sure you're the one. You know, that's how to stay awake. Shout out to everybody diving deep once again. Deep divers, how's your day going? We're back on the live stream. Oh, baby. What's been on your mind, deep divers? Absolutely. The Matrix was one of the Matrix, in fact, wasn't a film. It was a documentary. What? Slow motion this side. I said the Matrix wasn't a film. The Matrix was a documentary. And the Matrix is incredible, absolutely. But do you know who wrote the Matrix? That's the question. Do you know who wrote the Matrix? Because the Wachowski brothers didn't do it. Do you know who wrote the Matrix? That's the question. See, because the writer of the Matrix was the same one who wrote the Terminator. And she goes by the name of Sophia Stewart. Sophia Stewart wrote The Matrix. And that's why when The Matrix first came out, I remember being in the car. I was in the UK at the time and they turned on the radio. They said, hey, a woman is trying to sue the Wachowski brothers. That was on the BBC. Then the story died out. But she is the original writer of The Matrix. She was the oracle in The Matrix. Nikki, shout out to you, Nikki Danielle. I noticed every time I had woken up conveniently, my notifications were spammed with distractions. Blessed to be aware of that. I appreciate the offering. Absolutely. Make sure you're aware of those distractions out there. Make sure you're aware of those traps. You know, you got to remind yourself, deep divers, how do people trap mice? They give them cheese. What is cheese in this Matrix? What's the cheese in this matrix? How do people get trapped? Dead end jobs, that's the cheese. Instagram, that's the cheese. Facebook, that's the cheese. Sucks all your energy. You know, I mean, I only post on Instagram just to tell them, hey, I'm rocking with you, but I'm not on Instagram all day. I got things to do. I got to live life, real life. So shout out to everybody diving deep. So that's the thing, you know, The Matrix was a very powerful film, written by Sophia Stewart. And I'm excited to see the Avatar. I'm excited about that one because I know James Cameron has already shot all the 3 films, you know, and the first one was fantastic because that's what the Avatar is also about. You know, the Avatar was about you know, these people. Who are these people? These are the chosen ones. These are the people who are indigenous to the planet. That's what the Avatar is all about. And right now people are waking up to say, wait a minute, I'm so much more than this Matrix told me to be. You got to remind yourself every single day you wake up, you're putting on trainers. Already you're disconnected from the earth. That's why a lot of people are so neurotic on the planet. Take your damn socks off. Take your damn shoes off. Plant your feet. Deep divers. I'm not going to judge your toes. Don't worry about it. So the whole world is waking up because a lot of people are starting to realize that, wait a minute, I got to be tapped in. I got to be tuned in to who I really am. So have you ever experienced Tibetan bowls, deep divers? This is powerful. A recommendation for you. If you ever get a chance, go to a Tibetan sound bath healing therapy. This will literally heal you instantly. I did this in California and it blew me away. We did it on the beach, in fact. We did a whole Tibetan bowl therapy. I'm like, it takes you to another zone, deep divers. Literally time traveling. Out of space here. Shout out to you, Leonie. I appreciate that. My dreams reconnect me when life attempts to distract me. What? Slow motion this side. Say it again, Leonie. My dreams reconnect me when life attempts to distract me. That's what it's about. See, this is why the whole world is awakening, because people are starting to say, wait a minute, a dream is not just a dream. A dream is something that's actually happening in another time and space. Parallel universe, deep divers. Your dreams are real, deep divers. And that's why I told you. This is all there is. This is all there is. This is all there is. Just light frequencies, vibrations. You're traveling into space. You can go here in the dream world. You know, the dream world reconnects you with who you really are. When you wake up, you're actually in the illusion. And the dream world is the real one. Deep divers, you're making me get dreamy. You're making me get real dreamy right now. No, the dream world is that's why I always say, deep divers, grab yourself a dream journal, for goodness sakes. That's what I'm doing. Like, I don't do it all the time, but I'm very aware of my dreams. Like, hey, every single thing I dream about has a significance. No dream is by accident. Your dreams are the language of the subconscious mind. So you got to pay attention to your dreams. Shout out to everybody diving deep once again. Bless the deep divers. Rotez, shout out to you. Oh, deep divers are divinely protected, highly favored. Universe keeps blessing us. Absolutely. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Deep divers, we're just having fun right now. You know, a lot of people right now are really going in. And that's why I say this is an actual blessing in disguise. This whole lockdown, this whole coronavirus, I see it as a blessing in disguise. The reason being is because this had to end. Babylon had to fall, deep divers. It had to fall. Because the way we were living was not sustainable. Let me just tell you a fact, deep divers. Do you know that over the last 12,000 years, we have cleared 46% of Earth's trees? I don't think you heard me. I said over the last 12,000 years, we have cleared over 46% of the Earth's trees. And every single year, 15.3 billion trees are cut down. 15.3 billion trees are cut down. And the awakening that's happening is that, hey, we can't pollute the world anymore. We can't pollute the world we live in anymore. This is life, deep divers, how it should be. Can you see all of these fishes, deep divers? They're deep divers. These are the actual original deep divers, okay? Can you see how they're swimming in harmony? They're all connected. See how marvelous nature is? That's what happens when there's no pollution in the oceans. Scientists predict that by 2049, there will be no fish in the ocean. I don't think you heard me. Deep divers, I said scientists predict that by 2049, there will be no fish in the ocean. So, we got to start loving the fishes. We got to start taking care of the ocean. Otherwise, there's going to be no fish there left. Right? So, we have to. You know, you have to remind yourself, with this whole awakening, you would say, why do people want to destroy the ocean? Because, do you remember, I think it was a Batman film, and there's a quote that says, some people just want to see the world burn, right? Some people just want to see the world burn. That's how it is. Some people want to see the whole world destroyed. At the same time, some people are all about cultivating the world, protecting Mother Nature, immersing themselves into Mother Nature. This is how life should be, deep divers. You see these beautiful elephants just walking around, chilling, kicking back, beautiful sunset. That's what life is about. And it's returning to that for those who are awake. Because a lot of people are saying, screw this, I'm going to Thailand. A lot of people are saying, hey, it's time to get back into nature. This is why the whole world is awakening. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Deep divers, I see you. Oneness MP, shout out to you. If humans kill more biodiversity, I guess we will soon be sent out of Earth. We ain't having it no more. One love. Absolutely. You see, millions of species have already gone extinct. And 100 million species, according to scientists, are in threat of extinction. So we have to start realizing we are approaching the 6th mass extinction. And that's why a lot of people are starting to wake up. Say, hey, if we don't do something about this, if we something about them cutting up trees every single second, if we don't know about the pollution in the waters, in the oceans, we're going to be in for a rude awakening. This COVID-19 business, they want to test everybody, is all part of a symptom. And if you don't do something about this, if you blindly follow like a sheep, this is the future for your children. In other words, there won't be any outside. You'll be living in a virtual reality. That's it. You just wake up, you put on your goggles, and that's it. So, deep divers, remind yourself that, you know, we are the power. And right now is a great time to really realize the whole world is awakening, because a lot of people are becoming more and more aware. More and more aware. So if you're just joining the chat, like I say, thoughts on sun gazing. It's the best therapy in the world, deep divers. When you are sun gazing, oh baby, you are literally connecting with source energy. You know, the sun is the giver of life. And this is why the whole world is awakening. Because when you realize, when they say the son of the world, who is the son of the world? The S-O-N, many people think is Jesus Christ. You have to read the book 33 Crucified Saviors, right? The 33 crucified saviors before Jesus Christ. Okay? Mithras crucified, Krishna crucified. Long tradition of crucifixion. But Jesus being the Son, the S-O-N, is actually symbolic of the S-U-N. That's the real Son they're talking about. Who is the Son of the world? It's the S-U-N. Without the Sun, the S-U-N, there is no life on the planet. The Sun sustains all life on the planet. We need it. So the Sun is the closest thing to God. It is God itself. We are gods. We are gods and goddesses. So that's why in ancient Kemet or Egypt, they worship the sun. That's the most logical, that's the most sensible thing to worship, because without the sun, there's no life. Everybody loves the sunshine, right? Everybody loves the sunshine, right? Everybody loves the sunshine, right, deep divers? Shout out to everybody diving deep. I appreciate that, Dana. I appreciate that, Dana. Shout out to Dana. Glowaka. Hello, beautiful soul Ralph, smart, bless you. You are a light coming from the sun. I appreciate that. I'm a child of the sun, deep divers, and so are you. You know, right now it's about everybody shining right now. Everybody shining right now. You know, I often say, deep divers, don't you think people look better in the sun? People will start to glow when the sun is out, right? Yeah, this is why the whole world is awakening, because people are starting to embrace the sun a whole lot more. Shout out to everybody diving deep. Deep divers, I'm here for you. We're having fun. So one thing I wanted to remind you of, deep divers, as I was saying before, there's a difference between knowing. Leonie, I appreciate that. Yet they teach it was 16 saviors. Yes, there were 16. There's a book called 16 Crucified Saviors Before Christ. Go and check out that book. The reason why the whole world is awakening right now, especially right now, is because it's reached a boiling point on the planet. And a lot of people are fed up. And that's a good thing. That means change is going to happen. That's a good question. Ralph, do you see yourself on YouTube in the next 5 years? Absolutely. You know, I got nothing against YouTube. Without YouTube, there would be no diving deep as it is right now. So, YouTube is just a platform. That's all. I may not be on YouTube. I might be on Spotify. I might have my own platform, my own streaming company. Tidal, you better move over the way. You better move out the way, Jay. But like I say, YouTube has done wonderful things for me. And it's doing a lot of great things for other people. You got to remind yourself that when YouTube first started, it was even more open than it is right now. And that's why I feel people like Joe Rogan, they're leaving, and all of these people, because, YouTube has become a bit more controlled. So I feel that if it gets more controlled, I'm going to have to go to another platform which is more free or create my own. But I got to say, YouTube has definitely helped me manifest. So I got to give credit to YouTube, because at the moment it's still the number one platform where everybody's going for. Everybody's coming to YouTube. Doesn't matter where you are. Google owned YouTube, number one search engine in the world. So YouTube is very, very powerful. Very powerful. Shout out to everybody diving deep once again. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I got to do a whole video on the Atlanteans. This is the power. This is the secret science. That's why I was telling you, deep divers. That's why I was telling you. Shout out to you, Ariana. The Atlanteans used crystals and sound healing as well. They knew many ancient secrets. Absolutely. When you really tap in, you start to realize that that's what it's all about. You start to realize that it's all about the right sound frequencies. Many people say they built the pyramids with sound technology. So, to all the Lemurians in the house, shout out to you. Sure. To all the Lemurians in the house, shout out to you. To all the Atlanteans in the house, shout out to you. But this is what's coming back. It's the return of the Lemurians, the return of the Palladians, the return of the Atlanteans. That energy is coming back on the planet. And that's why I was telling you, there was a time on the planet, Lemuria, Atlantis. This is where the starseeds were just having parties every single day. Deep divers doing a little samba, baby. Oh, baby. And it's coming back. So a lot of people, they can trace their lineage back to Atlantis, to Lemuria. And they already know that they're so much more powerful than they were told. And this is why the whole world is awakening, because people are tracing back their roots. For instance, in Mali, you have the Dogons. Okay, the Dogons knew about the Sirius star systems before scientists knew about them. How the hell did they know about that? Because they were tapped in. What? Slow motion this side. The Dogons knew about all of those star systems because they were star travelers. They are star travelers. Okay, you should research the Dogon tribe and their connection to Sirius. Oh, deep divers, we're diving deep, baby. Paradox Trippy Face 333, COVID is like Neverland. Go into that a bit more. Talk to me about it. Ebony Bias, shout out to you. 1212. How do I share my gifts with the world when I'm a high empath and extremely sensitive to notifications, much less people? I am drained easily. I commune with spirits and universal beings. That's a great question. That's a great question. You know, I really want to remind you that you don't have to put up with energy that's not serving you. Ebony Bias 1212. How do I share my gifts with the world when I'm a high empath and extremely sensitive to notifications, much less people? I am drained easily. I commune with spirits and universal beings, right? I don't know if that's universal or universal. We'll go with universal, okay? Remind yourself that the gift of empathy is actually a superpower. And this is what a lot of people don't understand. When you are an empath, you are literally a superhero. You have that gift of sensitivity. And you have to start seeing it as a gift, not as a curse. You have to start learning how to protect your energy by realizing that, hey, I don't have to absorb all the energy around me. A lot of people are in jobs where they're absorbing crappy energy. You got to get out. You saw that film, Get Out. That's what it was about. Deep divers. You got to get out. You know, a lot of people, bad vibes, you got to get out. A lot of people in a bad relationship, you got to get out. You got to free yourself from the chains. And this is how empaths can live prosperous. Learn how to protect your energy. As an empath, you have to recharge. You got to go into nature. You need to spend twice as much time with yourself than anybody else on the planet, because you're doing the most work. When something happens, you feel bad about it. If there's a news story, you're thinking about that news story for hours upon end. That's what empaths do. I'm an empath, deep divers. I feel your pain. I feel your glory. I feel your magnificence, because it's a gift, deep divers. It's a gift, right? So remind yourself of that. Take care of yourself. For goodness sakes, go to the beach. I'll pay for it. Actually, you don't need to pay to go to the beach. What are you talking about, Ralph? Exactly. Listen, deep divers. There are actually some beaches you have to pay to go to. You see how crooked the Matrix is? They want to pay you to go to the beach. They want you to pay to go to the beach. Shout out to everybody in this chat. Deep divers were having fun on this live stream. I told you. Deep divers, the whole world is awakening. And that's what it's about. This is one solution. Like I always say, if you are somebody who's been affected by what's happening with the current state of the world, realize this today. Realize this today. Nikki Danielle, you have to release yourself from the generational conditioning. What? Slow motion this side. Say it again, Nikki. You have to release yourself from the generational conditioning. Absolutely. You see, there are so many programs generationally, and you have to free yourself from that. Spiritual bot, I appreciate you. Shout out to everybody. You have to release yourself from the generational programming, generational conditioning, and this is the solution to everything. Deep divers, I got love for everybody on this chat. I want to say we've had a phenomenal show. Phenomenal show. I want to give huge round of applause to everybody on this chat. Huge shout out to everybody on the chat. Deep divers, I told you. So many people are awakening. Be grateful right now. This is not the time to lament. This is not the time to feel sad. This is not the end. This is nothing more than the beginning. This is the global reset button that had to be pushed. Right now, the whole world is waking up. Just look around, see what's going on. This can't be stopped. This won't be stopped. So, Vikesh, shout out to you, my good brother. I'm a music producer, been playing piano for 20 years. I discovered my purpose naturally. How can I turn it into a career? Man, I'm upset. Well, I want to remind you of this. If you are somebody who's been in the trenches, really doing your best to make your musical career pop off, Patience is the greatest asset you have right now, Vikesh. Being a music producer is not easy, because there's a lot of other people producing great music. But it's a gift. And it's only what you make it. If you've been playing the piano for 20 years, some people don't even know how to play the piano. So once again, you have to shift into gratitude. And you have to say, hey, if you want to turn this into a career, you have to start taking chances. What you were doing was bringing you the same result time after time. You have to change something. You have to change a variable. You have to say, okay, let me start networking. Let me start meeting other artists, other musicians. This is how you move to the next level. If you've always been doing it by yourself, you have to reach out. Go to forums, music forums, start networking, start saying, hey, I've been playing the piano. Wait a minute. Do you know how many people would love to have a pianist in their band? You got a job there. You got a career there. Many people don't know how to play the piano, let alone been playing for 20 years. So there are so many artists right now who need a piano player. So learn how to work with a singer who is an up and coming star. Say, hey, I can play the piano for you. Just sing. Billie Eilish, her brother is a producer, right? So you have to remind yourself that you can work with singers. And that's a secret. Find a singer who has talent and say, hey, I'll be your piano player. And then you're in the game. But like I say, don't give up. You know, your dreams are worth fighting for, deep divers. I said your dreams are worth fighting for, deep divers. I said your dreams are worth fighting for. And once you realize that, well, you'll just say, feels so good to be alive, baby. Can I get a hello there? Beautiful deep divers. I'm just, woo, breathing in that good ass prana, baby. Deep divers, I love everybody on the chat. And everybody who's watching this, you are appreciated. Deep divers, we are the power. We always were. We always will be. Shout out to everybody who's been getting the wonderful good ass prana shirts. Deep divers at ralphsmart.com/clothes. And if you're in America, spreadshirt.com. And of course, deep divers, check out the new book for more information like this. Feel Alive by Ralph Smart on Amazon. And there you have it, deep divers. Shout out to everybody as well who's doing the 7-day vegan challenge. Deep divers, eat to live, baby. So there you have it, deep divers. Peace. Infinite waters, diving deep once again. Stay well, stay healthy. Peace. You deep divers, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell out of here. Just kidding. Stay here. Stay here with me, deep divers. And the cat down the road. Much love to all you deep divers. Remind yourself, the whole world is awakening. Rejoice. Be part of the great awakening. Have a beautiful day, deep divers. Peace.